So the brain is designed to make decisions in this quick, intuitive manner throughout the day. And that, of course, applies to the decisions that we make when we purchase products. It applies to the decisions that we make in marketing. And that means that it applies to the way that marketers need to communicate to their audience. In this video, we're talking about System 1 marketing. This is an approach to marketing that we use often here at Intermark Group, and it gets its name from our System 1 decision-making system. And this is essentially how the brain makes decisions in general. And that is that we have various heuristics that we use to make decisions within the environment because we have a limited access to information. The brain simply can't process everything that's going on. There's more that our eyes see than we're able to process. There might be a lot of things that we hear at the same time, and we simply can't understand it all. We can't be conscious of it all. So we have to use these heuristics to try to make quick decisions. And historically, as an animal, as a species, this has been very important because if you're faced with a predator, for example, if you're looking out in the field and you think you might see a tiger, then you need to make a quick decision that it might be a tiger and act accordingly. You can't sit there and fully analyze the situation because you might risk being prey. So what are the heuristics that we use to make decisions based on a limited amount of information? That's a critical question for marketers to consider. And those are the insights that we use when we do System 1 marketing. So one of the factors that guides our decisions is our memories. Essentially, it's these pre-established connections that we have based on our prior experience. And this includes muscle memory. So muscle memory contributes to a lot of the decisions that we make. You know, when we're driving, we know how to do things through our muscle memory. Walking, picking up things, often these acts can involve muscle memory. And because these movements have been ingrained through habit, that means that our habits end up guiding a lot of the decisions that we make. So we often find ourselves engaging in behaviors because we previously engaged in those behaviors. Maybe you have a habit of ordering a pizza every Friday night, or maybe you formed a habit of buying gas at a particular gas station, visiting a particular grocery store, or just buying a specific brand of milk. So in each of these instances, you've made a decision even though you might not have felt like you made a decision. And that's our decision-making system in action. It's making quick decisions for us. So what does that mean for marketers? In terms of habits, it means that you need to be aware of the habits that your customers form and how those habits are reinforced or altered in the context of your product. The next factor that drives System 1 decision-making is familiarity. Basically, the more we see something, the more we tend to view it favorably. And we don't actually just perceive it more positively, we actually believe that that item has more value. There was a fascinating experiment that they did where they showed people a normal dollar bill, they showed people an altered dollar bill, and they showed people a dollar coin, which is rare. And they asked how much of an item could they buy with each of these three pieces of money. Well, they're all worth the same amount, but people believed that the unaltered dollar bill that looked like a regular dollar bill had more purchasing power than the altered dollar bill or the dollar coin. And that's because it was more familiar. So just simply seeing a dollar bill that looks more familiar actually makes us think that it has more value. It's attached to the amount of value that we put on it. So for System 1 marketing, familiarity means that you have to establish recognizable assets that are associated with your brand, and you have to use marketing to ensure that those materials reach your audience. And I talked about the importance of these distinct brand assets in another video, so I'll link that here at the top of the screen. The next heuristic is based on feelings and emotion. And the important point here is that feelings and emotion aren't just guiding our decision, they're required to make decisions. Feelings and emotion are part of our decision-making system. And this is based on the study by Antonio Damasio, where he showed that participants who lost the ability to feel and feel emotion were unable to make decisions. They were even unable to make basic decisions like which toothpaste to buy or which jacket to wear when leaving the house. So they basically couldn't function. They lost their ability to navigate the world. So thinking about feelings and emotion is a critical aspect of System 1 marketing. And it's really important to understand how emotions can change behavior in different ways. So for example, one of the things that we talk a lot about is the scarcity principle, which means that when something is scarce, we tend to value it more and desire it more. Well, it turns out that emotion plays a role in the degree in which we're influenced by scarcity. If we tend to feel fear, then we tend to be more influenced by scarcity. So that means that if you're communicating that your product is scarce, that it's limited or hard to find, then that message might be more effective if it appears in the context of a television show that is frightening, like Unsolved Mysteries. I know we used to watch Unsolved Mysteries a lot when I was a kid, and it really freaked me out. So in the context of System 1 marketing, marketers need to consider the emotional context of when their ads appear, and they should generally try to come up with ads that generate positive emotions. And that's because we're ready to embrace the world when we're in a positive mindset. We become more receptive to your brand and your product. Another feature of System 1 decision making is we often don't process new information in isolation, but we relate that information to things that we're previously familiar with. In our marketing, we often think about that in the context of new products. One example would be when Uber came out, they had to communicate what they are to people. And communicating that they're a rideshare app was an effective way to do that. It's like a taxi that you call on your phone. And that leverages our knowledge of taxis and ride-sharing apps and sharing apps like Airbnb to help us understand what Uber is. Another way that you can leverage people's pre-existing information to help them understand your product is to attach products to concepts that people are familiar with. One of our favorite examples is the Geico ad where the camel is walking through the office asking everybody what day it is. And finally, somebody says it's hump day, and he gets really excited. Of course, a camel should be getting excited on hump day. That makes a lot of sense. But the interesting thing here is that when you're pairing Geico with hump day, people begin to associate Geico with a day of the week. And when they hear hump day, they think of Geico. And that was actually demonstrated following that commercial, that on Wednesdays there tend to be an increase in searches for that commercial. Other examples where marketers have used this is with Starbucks and their pumpkin spice latte. They attached that product to the fall time. So when fall hits, we begin to think of the pumpkin spice latte. And this advertisement that I've shown up on the screen here, it really exemplifies System 1 marketing, in my opinion, because it demonstrates how subtle it is. Remember I said that one of the heuristics that we use to make decisions is that we don't evaluate information as new pieces of information. We often relate that to pre-existing information. So in this cheese here, they wanted to convey that the cheese is made out of 98% milk. So they were able to leverage the notion that you can communicate milk through the shape of a milk carton. And you can communicate about the cheese through the plastic wrapping on the cheese. And you could see that what they've done here very quickly communicates to the viewer that this cheese is made out of 98% milk. That's the power of communicating things through System 1 marketing. The alternative would be to simply print out 98% milk and show that to people. But it's not going to get their attention. It's not going to stand out from all the other words that they're seeing. And the actual message, the impact of the message is not going to break through. But by leveraging our instant recognition of a milk carton and doing something a little bit creative, they're able to convey that message much more effectively. So this is a great example of System 1 marketing in action. Now, a lot of times when we're working on our campaigns at Intermark Group, we're using System 1 marketing to help brands become the intuitive choice for their customers. So understanding how we make decisions in this intuitive way, where your audience doesn't have to think about too much in terms of buying your product, helps the audience perceive that your product is the right choice at the gut level. So thanks for checking out this video. Intermark Group is a full-service advertising agency that embeds a layer of psychology in their creative. It helps you boost the connection between your brand and your customers. We're posting regularly on our YouTube channel, so be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell if you want to learn more about marketing psychology. Hit the like if you like this, hit the share if you'd like to share. Let us know in the comments what you think, and you can find more information about us below. Thanks for checking this out.